across the entire region of higher education here in North Texas. Delighted to sit with my friend, Dr. Lazarus, the president of the University of Dallas. He was very kind to invite me out there and to tell me about the exciting work that is going on at his institution. I must tell you that I gave these individuals this topic, innovation in times of limited resources and heightened accountability, for a couple reasons. The essential reason being, I am caused to be in Austin these days at least 2 or 3 times every week, dealing with members of the legislature and also individuals in the governor's office and in the Texas Association of Community Colleges and with the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board. I am an unpaid lobbyist in Austin. And what we are talking about increasingly is this matter of innovation and accountability. So when I suggested this topic to my colleagues, they said, yes, be a good topic. So here we are today. This is, I should tell you, this is more of an awareness presentation as opposed to one where I'm giving you a lot of solutions. The renowned philosopher Will Rogers once said that you can get run over when you are standing still. And that is wise counsel for those of us in higher education today. For we are in various arenas in higher education as well as public education. Since I see my friend Dr. Hinojosa here, we are having to navigate the waters of excellence and student success, all in an era of heightened accountability and limited resources. I read of a study conducted by the McKinsey organization on leadership and innovation most recently, and the results appeared in a magazine called The Chief Executive. They found in their research a sizable gap between the aspirations of business leaders to innovate and their ability to execute innovation. And in their study, they found that some 70% of the 722 top executives who were surveyed, they said that innovation would be among the 3 drivers of growth for their companies over the next 3 to 5 years. Those same executives, however, expressed disappointment in their ability to stimulate innovation, with about a third of them saying that they were stimulating innovation primarily in an ad hoc way. And there is one interesting story that I saw in that research that I want to share with you. It comes from Bill Johnson, the chairman of the board and CEO of H.J. Heinz, the Pittsburgh-based maker of condiments, soups, and prepared foods. Johnson views innovation and globalization as being at the core of his company's growth drive. He was interviewed, and in that interview, he was posed the question, how does one innovate with a flagship product like ketchup that is probably as old as the 138-year-old company itself? The reporter who was interviewing him heard that question, and his response was, I advised my team to recall the experience of Coca-Cola when they introduced New Coke. Coca-Cola was competing with Pepsi-Cola, and Coca-Cola was losing the battle until they thought of a new way to look at the challenge facing them. The new way of looking at the challenge was in this context. The CEO asked his executives to tell him how much did an individual consume in liquid during a day. And he was told that the average individual consumed 64 ounces of liquid during a day. And so in an effort to address this battle, his task to his executives was, from now on, I want to know what is our market share of the stomach. when he took that approach, Coca-Cola won the battle with Pepsi-Cola. Well, we are now back to the H.J. Heinz company. He says, Johnson did, that we never came out with new ketchup, although they did toy with ketchup in various colors, such as green, which the kids love for all of the obvious reason that kids always love things that adults cannot abide. But instead, they focused on new ways, innovative ways of using their product. And so they sent their marketing gurus into consumers' homes armed with video cameras. And they found, as they went into these homes, that people were storing ketchup bottles upside down. And so they introduced the top-down bottle of ketchup. And when they did that, they increased their business 25% over the next 2 years. That inverted top-down ketchup bottle was an early example of what we call, why didn't we think of that earlier novelty? The company also, when they had this success with ketchup, they took another of their famed products, that product being baked beans. Baked beans produced by Heinz that hadn't fundamentally changed since H.J. Heinz himself introduced baked beans 100 years ago. What did they do? They put those baked beans into little plastic, microwavable, single-serve pots. An instant hit. Well, I found it interesting as I read this research report that a 130-year-old dog could learn new tricks. But I believe one could be intrigued by the management model that Johnson built to sustain the success of the company. He told the reporter, the best thing about innovation is that innovation always attracts talent. People like to be around things that are evolving, that are moving, that are changing. And since I see some of my colleagues who are presidents from the Dallas County Community College District, they know that I'm always toying with them about trying to come up with things that are evolving, moving, and changing. You got that? Remember that? Well, after disappearing in the 1990s, the concept of innovation is back on the collective radar screen of higher education, the corporate sector, and government. So let me now share with you what I see as some of the innovation challenges for higher education. This pressure to innovate is coming from state policies that promote entrepreneurship, insufficient public funding, increased competition, and heightened scrutiny by policymakers and opinion leaders, all of whom expect colleges and universities not only to teach well, but also to address emerging social problems. And although innovation has remained a priority for campus leaders, policymakers and corporate leaders are increasingly calling on higher education to be even more creative. And these charges to be more creative tend to follow one of two things. The first thing being higher education needs to become more innovative to increase its effectiveness, to better serve a changing society, and or to increase its productivity in the teaching and learning enterprise. And all of this should be done with less cost to students and taxpayers. The second theme is there is a charge that higher education needs to produce more innovation. Innovation being the fuel of the knowledge economy,